I'm Yarrow Willard, and this is Darcy Ravenhill, and today we are off to hunt the wild and magical skunk cabbage. Now, many of you know this from its skunky smell, but you know that it's a magical plant with spiritual potency, one with many, many powerful properties. And we're gonna go find it and discover it today, dig up some gnarly roots, and start to play. So join us as we go along to find skunk cabbage. Skunk cabbage is one of the oldest plants in the arum family. This is a family where taro root and the peace lily come from. But there aren't very many plants like this in our part of the world. This is one of the only ones, so pretty privileged to spend time with it and connect with its spirit. It grows in deep and dark, dank, rich soil. It loves having its feet wet. Now, one of the first things I like in the spring is to connect with the plants, and this one has a lot of nice pollen. This is a nice way to connect. Put a little bit of the body of this plant into our spirit. Nothing like pollen. Pollen is like one of the most nutrient parts any plant produces. So one of the cool things about this plant is it's a strong bear medicine. The bears eat this in the spring. In fact, up to 90% of their diet can consist of skunk cabbage root. One of the cool things about that is that we've also found that it's helpful for diabetes and for restoring blood sugar stability. Maybe that's why the bears like it so much after the winters. These have big and gnarly roots, and they're hard to get out. They suction into the soil. So we want to dig a hole right beside it, and we're going to try and pull the root into the hole. That's probably the easiest way to harvest a big root like this. Way deep down. Give it a little more digging. We'll maybe dig right around it, the whole thing. We're going to get pretty dirty here. Skunk cabbage has some pretty potent medicine to it. It has salicylates in it, so it helps reduce pain and inflammation. It also helps rebuild up the tissues. But it looks like a big, gnarly lung tissue, which is kind of its doctrinal signature because it's great for whooping cough, bronchial infections, and tuberculosis. People are also using it for asthma for that same reason, to help calm down lung inflammation. A good friend of mine, Sean Donahue, talks about how skunk cabbage has tryptamines in it. Now, tryptamines are awesome for helping rebuild our serotonin, as well as it has that kind of entheogenic property, which means it can bring you up into a different state, an altered state, so to speak. We gotta be careful. Too much of this can be very hard on the body, so we only want to take it in small doses, which means drop doses of the tincture. It has also been made into a powder. Stephen Buhner talks about making it into a snuff. And he puts us taking the snuff up his nose, bringing you into your heart, into a heart-centered focus, and a much more deeply connected space.
This amazing plant has leaves that grow as much as 1 meter long. With that, we can line a pit cook, or we can fill in the ends of it to make sure that no air is getting in or air is getting out while we're cooking. It can also be used to cover up a small homestead for the evening if you're trapped outside. These can also be used for gathering water, holding food. As you can see, it works quite well for that.
Okay. Whoa. Now, the natives said, as the old story goes, that when Trickster came into the world, he sliced the root down into all the different family members. And he made mother, he made father, he made son, he made daughter. And this is how the old first people came to be. It was from shavings off the skunk cabbage root. Now this has a long history of being used as food to the native peoples. Before the salmon was in the spring, the skunk cabbage root was often what they ate. Now, a lot of people didn't like this. Some people might have. But it has more of a starvation famine food. And because it has salicylates and oxalates in it, it can be hard on the body. So they'd have to cook it down or dry it. And this helps pull some of that out. Now, what we're gonna do is probably tincture this and make a decoction ethanol extract, which means boiling it and then adding alcohol to turn it into a tincture. A few drops of this can have a pretty strong effect on the body. In fact, we want to use this for things like bronchial and lung infections, asthma, any kind of deep catarrh or congestion in the lung. It helps to bring us back into the heart center, bring us closer to our connection with ourselves. primal old plant. Powerful, powerful medicine. Very happy to have this as an ally. We will use your medicine wisely, and we hope to share in your power as we grow strong and vital for the year to come. Harvesting skunk cabbage is not for the faint of heart, or if you don't like to get yourself a little dirty. But you know what old herbalists tell me? Dirt helps you grow. I think I'm gonna grow today. We also want to honor this plant by giving a piece of ourself to it. Now, the best thing to give is actually a part of yourself. You can either do this by giving a piece of your fluids, i.e. your spit, or a tear if you have one, or possibly a hair. So I like to take hairs out of my head, which is why I might be getting a little balder on top eventually, and put it on to another skunk cabbage and layer it on so that my hair can be infused with the skunk cabbage spirit, so it can get to know who I am as much as I'm getting to know who it is. Because plants are like people, they have personalities, they have a way of being in the world, a way of showing up. And this is kind of part of the medicine we really want to bring into ourselves, is how does this one show up? And how can I learn to show up in a way that it does too? If you're digging this on skunk cabbage like we are, head out and start digging up some roots and connecting with the plant yourself. One thing also that I think is really interesting is that plants have their brain in the ground. Now, as humans, we keep our brain and our mind up here, but plants, their connection and their neurotransmitter type energy is all in their root system. This is something to think about when you see roots like this that kind of look like a bit of a brain. It's an old brain that taps in deep into Gaian consciousness. I'd like to dedicate this video to bear medicine. Bear is one of the most powerful healer animals, and it brings us great strength. This is also food of the bear, and so we'd like to thank the bear and honor bear medicine for giving us strength. May we bring that into our bodies and into our lives so that we can be better custodians, better healers of the natural world.
O skunk cabbage, you are a wise and powerful old soul. I am ever grateful for each drop of your spirit that I take. May your medicine help bring me deep into my roots, breathing life anew into this used body of mine.